Hi, and welcome to the Orange Coast College Transfer Center CSU Transfer Application Series. Today's video number 9, submitting your application and next steps. So once you have finished all of the quadrants in your Cal State Apply application, you can then submit your application. You know that your quadrants are done when each of the 4 has the sections completed of the total. So 8 of 8 sections, 2 of 2 sections, and you'll see that those rings around each section are closed, and that lets you know that you can submit the application. Until then, it is grayed out. So along the top navigation of your Cal State Apply, you'll see the Submit Application tab, and you can select that when you're ready to begin the submission process. Before you submit your application, it's important to make sure that you are checking the deadline. So with each campus, they will give you a summary of the campus you applied to, the major you selected, and the deadline. And you can submit these applications individually or all at once. The application fee, if you remember, is $70 per campus, and you may have eligibility for a fee waiver. I'll cover that in a moment. You want to make sure before you submit this that you have reviewed everything. You cannot make any changes to your application. You can add a campus, but you can't go back and change any questions or academic history that you've done. Also, just, don't wait till the last minute. The application filing period, the priority filing deadline is November 30th, and occasionally a non-impacted campus can keep their application open beyond that, but they also could close it for all or some of their majors, so it's best just to submit by the November 30th priority deadline. All the campuses will be open until that time. So once you're ready, you can submit all and begin the submissions process for your applications. You can check your status for a fee waiver before submitting your application to see if you qualify for fee waivers. If you do qualify, it would give you 4 campuses for free. Anything above 4 would be at the $70 per campus fee. If you're eligible, you will see the box, Check My Fee Waiver Status, on the Submit page next to the total number of campuses you've applied to and the fee. And if it says that you are eligible for that, you will get those 4 schools for free. So you'll have two possible messages. One is that you're eligible and the first 4 will be waived. The second is that you're not eligible, and then the total fees that you see to the left of that is going to be the prevailing cost. A couple mistakes to avoid before you get to this section is that certain common errors can impact your eligibility for fee waiver. First is if you report yourself as an independent applicant with a family size of 1, you have to report yourself. If you're dependent on someone else, you cannot have a family size of 1. If you're independent, you could be 1, but typically most transfer students don't qualify as an independent based on their age or other factors. Sometimes in the application, a student will report the same dollar amount under the line for adjusted gross income. They put that same amount also under untaxed income. Those are 2 separate lines and 2 separate income questions, and some people don't have untaxed income, and so sometimes that is 0, sometimes it's another amount, but it's usually never equal or the same dollar amount as the line that you filled out for adjusted gross income. Also, when you are filling out the application, under the section that asks you what state or possession do you regard as your permanent home, if you select none, you are not eligible for a fee waiver. They're giving this to California residents, and so that's who would be eligible. And then if you incorrectly report any of the information, you will not be granted a fee waiver. There is a checklist that you can find in your CSU Cal State Apply Help Center that gives more tips and tricks for qualifying for the fee waiver. Once you've checked your status, again, you want to review your list of programs and schools for one final review to make sure there's no changes. There are no changes after you submit and no refunds, so make sure that this is exactly what you want before you press submit. It will pull up a payment screen. Usually you can do this through PayPal. And continue. There's an acknowledgement to review information and a box, and you want to select continue. And then that's it. Once you've submitted your application, some things that are going to be coming down the pipeline for you include the following. You're going to get an email confirmation that your application has been received. You also should be able to see the status change on your CalState Apply. You can go into your CalState Apply application and click on Check Status and download a copy of your application as a PDF document if you'd like to keep record of that. You can also see a receipt of your payment under the Submit Application screen, View Payment History, and you'll see that for each program that you've applied to. So there are some occasions where CSU does not receive your application, and these are typically due to a couple of different types of errors. One is you didn't submit your application to the program, you didn't submit your payment, or the credit card payment was charged back. So you probably want to just go and make sure that you're checking both your payment history and your check status to make sure everything went through and there's no problems. And then in terms of going in and downloading a PDF, it is recommended that you do that just so you have a copy of your record and know exactly what you told the schools when you filled out your application. So you can do that and download it as a PDF and save it to your computer. All of this information can be found in the Transfer Student Application Guide in the CalState Apply Help Center. So for fall admission, next steps after you apply. You will be invited and receive emails from each of the CSUs that you applied to, and you'll want to check your email and that campus portal on a weekly basis. The portals usually are the equivalent of like a MyCoast portal where you might log in and they might provide application status updates if they want any official records or if they've received your financial aid application. You can usually check your status on all of those things as an applicant. Most CSUs are going to invite you to join that portal, and you'll want to just keep track of the usernames and passwords so that you have access. Also checking your email regularly so that you're not missing important communications or to-do items. Next is supplemental applications and academic updates. The CalState Apply application will ask all applicants to log back in January to complete an academic update. This will be during the month of January, and the update consists of telling them what your grades were in your fall classes, and then make any final changes to that spring planned schedule. And that is expected of all applicants. Not completing that during the month of January could be grounds for denial of your application. There are a few schools that require separate supplemental applications that go directly to the campus. The two most common for our campus would be Cal State Long Beach and San Diego State. Both of those campuses will engage in a supplemental application process during the month of January. Long Beach is due January 4th to February 1st, and San Diego State is due January 24th. Each of them will send you an email invitation with the link and instructions on how to access and complete that supplemental application. Next is the associate degree for transfer. If you are graduating with an associate degree for transfer from OCC, either an AA transfer or an AS transfer, then you must apply for graduation to get the benefits of the associate degree for transfer. If you're graduating in the spring, then you'll want to file your application for graduation in December. The filing period starts December 1st. And it goes through February 15th. If you're not getting an associate degree for transfer, but you are getting an associate degree from OCC, an AA or an AS or a certificate, you can file that petition as well. It opens December 1st and goes through March 15th. Next, you may be asked from the schools to send final transcripts. Typically, transcripts are sent only to the school that you intend to go to. You'll request your final transcripts and GE certification if you're finishing your CSU or your IGETC general education when the school's requested of you. Don't send it before, and typically the schools are going to request it once you've been admitted and then after your spring grades post, and you'll usually do that by the deadline that the school sets for you. For fall, it's typically sometime in early July. You can request your final transcripts and GE certification through MyCoast in the Records tab. A little bit more information about the Associate Degree for Transfer, or the ADT. If you indicated on your Cal State Apply application that you are on track or have received an associate degree for transfer, then you will be able to check your status for the ADT verification that the CSU requires right in your Cal State Apply application after you've submitted your application. So the way it works is if you reported you're getting an associate degree for transfer, the CSUs will send OCC a list of students who indicated that on their application, and we are required to verify your status to the CSU within a reporting window. So the CSUs give OCC until the 15th of March in order to submit the ADTE verifications, and the application filing period for graduation, if you remember, is February 15th. So the earlier you apply for graduation, the sooner OCC can file your electronic verification for ADT. Within your Cal State Apply, you will find that in your Check Status tab, and there'll be a section called Associate Degree for Transfer. And until the school sends anything in, it'll say Pending Verification. The other statuses that you might see there would be in progress, and that would mean that your associate degree is in progress and you're finishing your final courses that semester. The CSUs will recognize that as long as you complete your courses, you will be on track for your ADT. You also may see a completed degree posted, so that might be for a student that has already achieved their associate degree for transfer. And then not verified, which means either the student is not on track for that degree, or they're getting a different degree that isn't a match to the associate degree for transfer. The most important part to remember about all of this is if you do not apply for graduation, OCC cannot provide verification of your degree. So those things have to go together. You need to report your associate degree for transfer on your application, and then you need to apply to OCC graduation for the associate degree for transfer for the verification process to occur. When OCC updates your status, you will get an email from the Cal State Apply application portal. And then there's extensive information about ADTs and verifications and how to check your status within the Applicant Help Center. You can just use the search tab and type ADT, and all of the helpful information will show up for you. So as a review, your next steps, making sure that your payment goes through, that your application is submitted, that you are checking your email and reviewing the accounts on the portals for any needed information, applying for graduation, monitoring your application, completing the CSU update and the supplementals as required in the month of January, and checking your ADT verification status. We will have some CSU Next Steps workshops if you want a little bit more information. Otherwise, for additional help and questions, you can reach out to the OCC Transfer Center during our walk-in hours or scheduling an appointment. Thank you so much.